So for the German tree, things have gotten a little complicated since the latest revision, adding the E50, E75, and E100, taking the Panthers from over here, moving them up here, and just generally rearranging everything. So, if we start with the Lichten tractor, you can have a bunch of different options here. I kind of got a little bit of everything here, just so I could unlock all the different tanks if I wanted to, but I decided not to do the Sturmpanzer, and instead I decided to go with all the different tanks over here. So, we'll go down the Panzer II tree. I went into the Panzer II, which was my favorite tank for quite a long time, actually. It might be one of my... It might be a good tier 2. It might be one of my favorites. I mean, yeah, no, it is one of my favorites, yes. How about that? But, from here, the Panzer II also unlocks a whole lot of other stuff. It unlocks the Wesp, the Panzer III, and then the Luke. The Panzer II, though, is really good with the quick-firing 2cm flak 38. Put that on with the turret and the engine and the tracks, it's a very, very strong tank. So, let's go ahead and take it down the dead-end tree, because it's real quick and easy. So the Luke was not one of my favorite tanks. A lot of people do seem to like it, I just couldn't seem to get it going any way I wanted it to. It just didn't interest me, and it seemed a little too weak and underpowered, and yeah, once you upgraded the engine, it got faster, but just a tank in the way was the way I looked at it. It really needs the engine upgrade, otherwise it is terrible. I'm not going to lie. If you just stick with the stock engine, you're going to be going 20 kph, and it's just horrible. But, I mean, once you stick the better engine on it, the tracks, the gun, and the turret, go with the 5cm quick 38, it gets a little better. You actually start being able to do more damage, you can flank people, you can scout, it opens up, but still. By that time, the Leopard is a much better tank. The Leopard, once you upgrade its engine, goes super fast. It goes about the same speed as the BT-7, I believe. And it can also get the same turret, or the same gun, or a slightly stronger one, the Pak-39, onto its current chassis, which is not a bad gun. You can actually flank and do some heavy damage to artillery, so it's not a bad tank at all. I did end up liking it. Well, I'm still playing with it to try and get down how to scout better, but it is not bad by any means. Now, we go back out here again, go back to the Panzer II, and we go down its Panzer III off A set. So the Panzer III off A really is not a good tank. It is very fragile, has an alright gun at best, and it's slow, ponderous, and just too easy to kill, and just a lot of trouble. I did not end up liking it very much. It was, that again, another tank you had to play to get to the next tank. That of which is the Panzer III. The Panzer III is actually really decent. It has a great gun, great upgrades. I ended up throwing the 7.5cm on there, and it actually becomes a really good tank. It has very good different options. I enjoyed it a lot. It's faster, better armor than the Panzer III off A, and it used to go to the Panzer IV, but now it goes to the Panzer III IV, which I have not played yet. Apparently, I need to re-unlock that. I might end up doing free experience to do so. That is the break in the tree that I have, because it used to go to the Panzer IV, which unlocks the Hummel, which I did do, but seeing as that's a different sort of setup now, we have to take things in a different direction. So I'm using the Hummel, which I've just upgraded to its new cannon. I haven't really had the chance to play around with it yet. It seems interesting. It's really fast, so if you need to skirt and move, you can. It can get up and go. And the gun on it is great if you want to do direct fire missions, or if you want to bombard. So it really is a pretty good all-around purpose, not necessarily tank destroyer, but SPG. So I do highly recommend it. It's a great SPG, and it's easy because it was unlocked originally off the Panzer IV, but now again the Panzer III IV. So the Panzer IV used to lead into all these tanks right here. So we'll start with the ones that I've unlocked. So the Panzer 3001H for Hetzel is actually a pretty decent tank. It has some decent armor, has a pretty decent engine, a bunch of different good guns. You can get the 75 long, which is the Pak-42 L70, or you can get the 88cm, which is more infamously known as an 88. But yeah, that is actually a very, very good gun. It could be used for pretty much any different option you want, and I really liked it. It was not bad at all. It does have a lot of power behind it when it hits, so overall, not bad. It's kind of a tie between the L70 and the 88. The L70 can be used on so many different tanks, and so can the 88. The L70 has slightly better penetration, better rate of fire, but less damage. The 88 has slightly less rate of fire, slightly less penetration, but better damage. So, from the VK3601H, I unlocked the 3002DB because that originally led to the Panther, but now it unlocks several different tanks. And actually, its whole tree is now broken up completely differently. Okay. The same thing, though, applies. The 70 versus the 88, both are great. They have their own purpose. 88's good for sniping, 70's good for close range, but it also is great for sniping as well. Now, I'm currently using this tank to unlock the Tiger as opposed to the 3001H, or 3601H, which I'll get to later. But yes, it has unlocked the Panther like it used to, but now you can do two different ways to unlock the Panther, and it's much cheaper now than it used to be. I haven't played the Panther yet, I intend to at some point in time, but it kind of looks fun. So, I've covered this whole route here. I do not have the 36 yet. I want to, just haven't gotten to it. So let's go down to the Panzer 35. The Panzer 35T is a Czech tank. I really like it. It is probably my favorite Tier 2. It has great armor, great weapons, and just all around a fun tank. It can take a lot of hits, it can dish it out. I do highly recommend it for anyone who wants to play it at Tier 2 just for S&G's sort of circumstance. It is fun. So, that, you know, just upgrade everything you can in it. It is good. I especially recommend the 3.7. But you get into the Panzer 38T. Panzer 38T has a great 4.7 centimeter gun on it. Has a decent speed, very decent speed, I should say. A few different upgrades. I do recommend using the turret and then gun, obviously, and then just working your way through all of it. The Tier 3, this probably is the one that I'd go for if I had to choose one. Now, the 38NA, another different type of a Czech tank, does have a bunch of different options. I don't currently, but when it was on its own tree leading to something different, I used the 5 centimeter with the turret. I upgraded everything, put all the upgrades into it, ran it around. It actually can rival the BT7 and the Leopard as a scout. I do recommend it if you want to do a scout that does actually lead to something, because it does lead to the Panzer IV and the Hetzer now. But overall, I really liked it. I would honestly use it again over the... If I had to go back and do it again, I'd use it over the Leopard, because obviously it can unlock different stuff now. Before it only unlocked the Panzer III IV. So, the Panzer IV is a great, probably one of the better Tier 5s in the game. It has the L70, has a Panther turret on it, great speed, it's a great tank. I do highly recommend it. Get all the way down, unlock the turret, get the gun on it, and it becomes an amazing Tier 5 that can rival anything that it faces, because that L70 is used in tiers well above it. So I highly recommend you work your way to it and start using this. It is a great tank, probably one of the best Tier 5s. It unlocks the 3001H, which I said already, which I have not done, and the 3001P for Porsche. So, the Porsche originally unlocked the 3002DB, which then unlocked the Panther. Now, it unlocks the Panther, or the Tiger Porsche. The Tiger Porsche actually is slightly different than the standard Tiger, which I talked about in a different video, where it uses the electric engine as opposed to the diesel engine. The turret was moved up front, and theoretically the armor was the same. I believe it's technically sloped, and that's why the armor is doubled in the Panther, the Tiger P as opposed to the Tiger H, but it is what it is. So I now have to re-buy this tank to go through it and play to the Tiger. But overall, it is weaker than the 3001H, and definitely weaker than the 3601H. So, if you were to play it, I'd recommend getting all the upgrades as standard, get the decent engine. You don't need to go for the extra engine if you don't want to. The turret obviously makes a difference, and then again, your choice between the 70 and the 56. Take your pick. So, for the last tree in the German tech line, we have the tank destroyers. Starting with the Panzerjäger 1, it is not bad. Once you get the 5cm Pak 39 on it, it becomes very devastating. It has no armor whatsoever though, so you sneeze and it will die. but it can put out a lot of punishment. It goes into the Martyr II. The Martyr II is easily the best Tier 3 AT in the game. I can't even begin to describe just how awesome it is. You will take on anything and have no problems destroying it. The 7.6 centimeter Pak 39 or 36 rather, excellent gun. It just is so devastating. You can take on anything and not have a single problem. The armor is a little light, so it's best used as a sniper tank, but it really packs a punch. I would gladly use the Martyr II all the time if I could. It is hands down the most effective tank destroyer in the game. It leads to the least effective tank destroyer in the game, the Hetzer, because the Hetzer's gonna hetz. The Hetzer does hetz though, with some decent options here. The 7.5 centimeter Pak 39, it's a pretty decent gun. When you upgrade to it, things get a little better. But if you really want to be cheesy, the 10.75 centimeter is a great derp gun on the Hetzer. It certainly will pack a punch and do some damage. If you want to use it for fun, go for the 10.5 centimeter and just start hetzing your way to the Stug. So the Stug is great because it has that long 70, the L70 that every tank uses. It is such a great gun. I cannot emphasize that enough. It will penetrate most tanks up to a tier 7 or 8. And it is so devastatingly fast, so great. The Stug 3 has great sloped armor, great low profile, and of course you have the different engine upgrades, the different guns, but yes, if you get the L70 on this thing, it becomes very devastating. That actually does it for all the German stuff that I have unlocked so far. I still have the Panzer IV, which I have not bought yet, the 3601, which I have not bought either, the Panther, and I'm about to get the Tiger. So I have a few things I could work on here.